Here are a bunch of reasons why you should focus on YouTube if you have a business that you want to grow. And honestly, I'm making this video for you as the viewer, but also for me as accountability, because I'm going to be honest, I have not been consistent with YouTube. I want to make this video to remind myself why it's so important and to make sure that I put this out into the public, put this out into the world so that it holds me accountable to do so. At the time of this recording, I have a business where I teach musicians how to make money, and I'm averaging around 40 or 50K per month at time of this recording. And it's funny because I have the discipline to run a business like this. I've been consistent on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, but not YouTube. I've been on YouTube for years, but I've had such a hard time really staying focused on YouTube, so I want to make sure I make this video, put it out into the world, and hold myself accountable to it. I want to go over the big reasons why I think it's so important if you are a business owner. So YouTube is one of the best for growing an online business. First thing, obviously, is because of sales. Everybody that I've bought from, whether it's coaches, whether I'm buying t-shirts, it doesn't really matter. It's always because it's after I binge their YouTube content. Rarely do I ever buy things off of an ad or off of Instagram. And this is something I didn't realize until I really sat down and thought about it. Every time I've bought something, it's because maybe I saw an ad on Instagram or Facebook, but the first thing I always did was go over to their YouTube channel to see if they had one and binge their content so that I could trust them. So by the time I speak to them, I had already trusted them. And so I hand them over 10K or 20K, or it doesn't matter, right? But I truly don't think that if I just saw purely a cold ad or just saw an Instagram post, I don't think it would be enough for me to like pull the trigger, because I don't know them well enough. You just don't get to know somebody well enough off of an Instagram reel or a short, because it's only a minute long and it's so condensed and so highly edited usually that it just doesn't build enough trust. Because if it's not highly edited, like the times aren't cut close enough, then the video just isn't long enough for me to, build that trust. It's just so quick. And then I scroll to the next person. And once I scroll to the next person, my mind has completely shifted. Whereas on YouTube, we can watch one of their videos. They recommend us another one. We watch another one. And then it just goes on and we just keep binging it, right? So I've turned viewers into clients that have paid me thousands of dollars from one podcast that I did. And that wasn't even on my channel. I just featured on somebody else's podcasts, and people would watch that podcast and they would say, man, that really shifted my perspective. And then they would get on the phone with me and tell me all about it. And I'm like, man, I should again still focus on YouTube. But I just never did for some reason. I just couldn't get myself to do it. Maybe it's the fact that it could be very discouraging. YouTube takes a lot of effort. There's a lot of filming involved. There's editing, there's scripting, there's titles, thumbnails. It's a lot. And sometimes you put in all that work and then you upload a video and it gets like 10 views. And so it's a little bit discouraging. I think that's why I've had trouble being consistent. But the reason that happens is because I'm not being consistent. And I clearly know that, which is again why I make this video, so that I hold myself accountable. Negative beliefs are much easier to break with longer videos. When you are trying to sell somebody, like I sell a coaching program, when I speak to people, they have a lot of excuses before they buy. If somebody's going to buy something for thousands of dollars, they're going to think, well, this might not work for me. Well, how do I know it works for my niche? Well, I'm a special unicorn. It's not going to work for me. I have all these beliefs. People aren't going to buy from me. Nobody believes me. Nobody trusts me. And so in a 1-minute reel, it's just not enough time for me to truly, truly break somebody's belief. I'm not saying this is 100% of the time, because there are people that have bought from me that have just watched my Instagram reels, obviously, because that's how I run my business truly right now, is mainly Instagram. And people still buy, clearly, but I just feel like with a longer video like this, I have more time to say the important things I need to say. On a 1-minute video, I condense everything. I say everything really fast. And I feel like it just doesn't get the point across as clearly. Whereas if I sit here, people get to know me. People see my personality. They see how authentic it is. And it's just more likely to build trust. So I think the negative beliefs that most of your clients will have, it's much easier to break those beliefs with a longer video, so that by the time they speak to you, They already understand. They've already gotten rid of those beliefs. You don't have to overcome them. They just get on the phone and they're just ready to go. Another thing is communication. Communication is one of the few skills that we use every single day. Like, name the last time you did not speak all day. It doesn't really happen, right? You speak every single day. So I think communication is one of the best skills that you can have, whether that be to bring on a client, whether that be to be in a business meeting, whether that be to negotiate a partnership, whether that be to get your child to brush their teeth, whether that be to convince your wife to go to a certain restaurant. Everything is communication. That's the one thing that we do every single day. So why not get really good at it? Because it's the one thing that you use every single day, right? Sorry, I'm all like congested and stuff. But if there's skills that you use more frequently, don't you believe that you should get really good at those things? And if this is the one thing that we use every single day, shouldn't we be absolutely monsters at speaking? Video is also a very powerful marketing tool right now. I mean, I for the foresee future, like I just see video being one of the most powerful. If you look at an ad, it's usually a video. What does that ad take you to? It's usually some sort of form of video that sells you into something like that. If you look at YouTube, the whole thing is videos. If you look at Reels, if you look at Instagram, it went from a platform that was highly about photos and now it turned into videos. If you look at Facebook, it was a platform that was mostly people sharing their thoughts. Same with Twitter. And now they're mainly videos. TikTok has shifted the world in shorts, short form content. YouTube is still doing long form. TikTok has gotten everybody else, all the other platforms, Facebook, Instagram, the massive ones, to shift whatever they're doing over to short form videos. So that's very powerful. But again, TikTok is also extending their videos to like 3 or 10 minutes. And so long form is starting to show up there too. And so video in itself is just one of the most powerful things. It doesn't matter if you're like sharing cooking recipes that you have known your entire life, whether you're trying to convince somebody on a YouTube, whether you're just getting any sort of information across, whether you're training your team members, video is just super, super powerful because it's not like the same as reading. Reading, you don't hear fluctuations in voice. You don't see the emotion in the person's face. On photos, you see the people's physical form, but you don't hear the audio. So video is, and then again, the audio is, there's no visual. It's just purely audio. Whereas video form is just all of the worlds combined. So I feel like it's the most powerful marketing tool for that reason. And I feel like when people watch you on the screen all day, they just get to know you better, right? So getting good on camera is just super, super important. Speaking with fewer edits too. Like this video, there's going to be very few edits, right? On a 1 minute reel on Instagram, I like to tighten things up. So if there's spaces where I take a pause like this, I'm going to trim that out. And we condense everything, put everything really close together. Whereas on the longer form, you just speak in free flow. Yes, there's edits and there's people who edit videos highly, but I still think with a long form, even if it's highly edited, they have to speak for longer increments than you do in shorts. In shorts, you could say a couple words, edit, say a couple words, edit, say a couple words, edit. Whereas in long form, you have to speak full sentences. Otherwise, it would look really weird. And that's just part of getting better. That just makes your communication skills better because it forces you to have fewer edits and speak longer. And trust and authority is another big thing that really helps your business with being on YouTube and having long form, because there's that bingeability factor. If you go on Instagram and you binge shorts, how long do you binge content for? Even if they watched 100 videos, each video is about a minute long, 1.5 minutes at the longest. That's the cap to what Instagram Reels is, 1.5 minutes. If they watched 100 videos, the most time they would spend with you is 100 minutes. Or what's 1.5 minutes? 150 minutes at most. That's you making 100 videos. Whereas if you watched YouTube, a video could average from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. The bingeability is there. They're staring at your face for a longer time. More time they spend staring at you, the more they feel like they know you. How many times have you watched some of your favorite YouTubers? And if you met them in person, you would feel like you know them already. You know the stories about their life, their cat. You know things about their business. You just know everything that's going on with them because you've watched them for so long, yet they've never met you. And so they know nothing about you, but you feel like you know everything about them. And that ability to get somebody to know that something that means that by the time they speak to you and you do business with them, it's going to be really easy. So they're just going to be ready to buy. Every time I've, bought things from my favorite YouTubers, there's very little questions that I have to ask because I know everything already. I've been watching them. I've been binging them for so long. And the highest level of internet trust is built on YouTube. I honestly, truly believe that because if you do a blog, you do forums, you do a website, you do a Facebook group, it's all great. But I think truly YouTube is the one thing. My favorite YouTubers, I wouldn't hesitate to buy from them. If they had an offer that I truly wanted, something that would really help me out, I wouldn't have the hesitancy to think, can I trust this person? Is he going to scam me? Like that's not a fleeting thought in my mind because I have so much trust for them. And so that's what I want to build with my audience as well. There's a higher threshold. And what I mean by this is YouTube takes a lot of commitment. It takes more commitment than any other social media platform. With Twitter, you make one post. With Instagram, you make a minute video or you write one sentence. It's not much commitment. That's why it's so much easier to grow. And I truly believe that. At this time, I think I have over 100,000 followers on Instagram, but I only have like 2K followers on YouTube. Why? Because the threshold is higher. And I'm going to admit that I've been being a lazy piece of crap about it, and I should focus on it more. And I automatically assume that if somebody has a large YouTube channel, that they're qualified. I've been looking for YouTube coaches, for example, and when I look around and I type in YouTube coach, and the first thing I look for is like the subscriber number. If they have like 9 million subscribers, I automatically assume that they've been sticking with us for a long time. They have the commitment, they know what they're doing, and they are truly in it to win it. If I look at Instagram, there's people who have 100,000 followers that may have bought from like bots. And so it's just not trustworthy as YouTube. And maybe they can buy subscribers too, but you can just tell from their content if they have truly been putting effort into this because they can speak well, the topics are great, the video is great, the edit is great. There's just so much more proof on YouTube. A large YouTube channel usually equals a large Instagram, a large Facebook, large other social media platforms. If they just had YouTube, it's evergreen. They watch a video, they visit your Instagram grows. But a large Instagram doesn't always equate to a large YouTube channel because YouTube is harder. So if somebody's put that much effort into YouTube, again, it's evergreen, so it just works forever. If you post something on YouTube once or on Instagram once, it dies after a few days. So it doesn't have the ability to reach over to your YouTube. And yes, you can get traffic from your Instagram over to your YouTube. But again, it's just not as simple as if you had a large YouTube and tried to build a large Instagram. Longevity is another thing. Videos are still relevant years from the creation. Think about when you watch a tutorial on how to change the oil in your car. It doesn't matter if it was 5 years ago. It doesn't matter if it was made today. It is still the same concept. It is still relevant. And that's so cool because people are always searching for solutions. It's the second largest search engine, owned by the first largest search engine. YouTube is owned by Google. So those are the two monsters when it comes to anybody looking for an answer to a problem. And that is huge, right? When I think about my own situation, if I'm thinking about fixing something in my car, if I need to change my alternator, I'm looking on YouTube immediately. And if I don't find it on YouTube, I'm looking on Google. And they're owned by the same. So it's just it's monumentally powerful. I'm not searching on Instagram. I go to Instagram to, honestly, to just like get a dopamine hit, to be like, oh, that's great, cool, next thing. It's just constant consumption, whereas YouTube just has a completely different intent to it. People come to solve a problem. And if you solve problems, that's what business is. This is the best place to be. And a massive example that changed my perspective was this entrepreneur named Vanessa Lau. She quit. She was growing so fast on all social media platforms, on YouTube, on Instagram. She got really burnt out in her business and she quit social media completely cold turkey for about a year. She came back and she shared these stats. On Instagram, she had lost 50,000 followers from being stagnant for a year. On YouTube, she had gained 20,000 followers from doing nothing. What does this tell us? Instagram is a platform that if you're not constantly on the hamster wheel, putting out content, working at it, it slowly starts fading. Whereas on YouTube, it's so evergreen that it just keeps growing. People watch her videos from years back. Even new people that don't know, they stumble on your YouTube channel, they watch your content, they subscribe, and it just continues to grow and it works for you so much longer. So I feel like I've been making a dumb decision by not putting more focus into YouTube. And that's why I want to make this video, because it's so important to understand, like, this is how it can change a business if you have an online business or really any business. YouTube is the place to be. First of all, online is the place to be. If you have a brick and mortar, even though you have a brick and mortar, online is the place to be. And if you're online, video is the most powerful. And the most powerful video platform is YouTube. So that is the place to be. If we reverse engineer it, it only makes sense. So that's why I think it's really important. YouTube is one of the places where the content you make actually works for you versus you constantly working on the content. Again, YouTube is the one place where your content works for you versus you working on the content constantly. On Instagram, I'm constantly having to make videos, these shorts that I'm thinking of. I was like, oh God, what's the topic I'm going to talk about today? Let's spill something out. Okay, let's put it out. Okay, I can't think of anything. Let's take my old content, repurpose it, and repost it again. It's this constant movement. I'm not saying that Instagram isn't great. It is great for business. It does many cool things because you can have the DM features so that you can reach out to people, put them on the phone, turn them into clients. But again, that's all manual work. And there's nothing wrong with manual work. But I just think that having a system like YouTube in place just is going to make everything elevated. You'll get more Instagram followers. You'll get more people who trust you. And it just makes more sense. And then the automation factor, right? As a sales funnel, so if we're looking at this from a business perspective, as a sales funnel, it's always working without you. With Instagram, with running ads, you're still having to do the work. You're still having to make ads all the time. You're still having to reach out to people. You're still having to make content on Instagram. This is a sales funnel that always works for you. Just like how Vanessa quit YouTube and in social media for a year, but still gained 20,000 followers on YouTube. This is the one thing, like, I always knew this, but this is the thing that really shifted my perspective. It's like, what happens if you build something massive on multiple platforms and you set them and let them go and don't do anything with them? Well, on Instagram, you lose a lot of followers. On YouTube, you gain followers from doing nothing. So this really shifted my perspective and made this really important for me. So I made this video because I hope that you guys get any valuable insight from this, from my thoughts. But again, I do this to hold myself accountable, to make sure I consistently go on YouTube and I can go back and refer to this video if I need to. And that's the cool thing too, is that you can use this as just like a place to keep your thoughts. I can always go back to this video and watch it and remind myself, because in business, we're constantly putting out fires, doing new things, always constantly busy, that we forget about the reasons why we do things in the first place. And so I can just go revisit this video and watch it and remind myself and be like, oh, I've been an idiot. I need to get back on the train. So I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, feel free to like and subscribe. And I always put out more content like this. I help musicians turn their creativity into a business. If you need any help with that and you want some coaching, I'll leave a button down below to book a call. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.